Sometimes I find myself burnt out with all the love being poured out and nothing given in return. I feel like the more I get close to my husband, the more I need and desire him. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, going to go over a story titled, "After 3 years in a relationship, I want more of my better spouse than he's giving, so I temporarily left. Better spouse says it felt like D-Day all over again. Need help understanding how do I fix this?" And guys, this story is probably written by one of the most selfish women I've ever seen in my life, who is truly having the biggest meltdown because, God forbid, her husband, who she cheated on, who she describes as being this amazing, great husband to her, she cheated on, he isn't exactly in any hurry to forgive her after she cheated on him, after he discovered her indiscretions. And so much so that she left him, and it's all about her, and etc., etc. The most selfish a-hole I've seen in a while, or heard from in a while. And she is having a complete meltdown over this whole thing, and she literally is writing in, asking for advice. I mean, I have to wonder if this woman's a cyborg and doesn't quite get human emotions too well. And you're going to see, guys, throughout this thing that she will repeatedly say, "I know I'm being selfish." So, mentally she knows she's being an a-hole, but doesn't care. In fact, you can make a drinking game out of her saying, "I know I'm being selfish," because she says it that many times. And that's a very good one here, guys, is to show you that as a guy, if you're great to a girl, and certainly in a perfect world, you would be loving, supportive, loyal, all that. If she isn't being that way towards you, she doesn't deserve it. And if you treat a gal that way, and she cheats on you and pulls all sorts of manipulative BS, as you're going to see here, you don't stay with her. You end it, because that's who she is, and that's all your relationship's ever going to be. So it starts off, it says here, 3 years ago, I had an affair with a local during the duration of my week-long business trip. My husband found out through a tablet I had left at home, which had the incriminating messages being sent between the affair partner and I, including nude pictures. If it was a business trip and she was hooking up, why was she taking time to send nude pictures? So something tells me things are probably going on longer than that. But okay. There were no feelings involved, because you're a robot, lady. My better spouse didn't say anything about the affair while I was away and let it carry on, maybe to see how far I'd go. He exposed everything when I got home, and I've been doing everything I can to mend our relationship. Really, honey? Everything? But ever since that day, my very affectionate, passionate, heart-on-sleeve better spouse did a complete 180. He used to be so tender and affectionate in and out of the bedroom. Well, maybe that's part of the problem. He's too soft. He would treat me like I was special and was very touchy before the affair, with a high libido. But afterwards he became depressed, thinking about ending himself, closed off, and guarded. This is paired with emotional declarations periodically that he doesn't want me to leave him and neglect him again. See, this guy obviously is, unfortunately, what she's describing, very a weak guy. Very attached to her, and she has that power over him. What he should have done is said, "See ya. Hit the road, Jack," or "Hit the road, Jane." Unfortunately, staying with her. She has that power over him. I triggered his abandonment issues that he has had since he was a child. I know this is my fault, and I've been trying to do what I can to help love and support him. But I crave my husband's former passions, openness, and touch. I long for him, and I've told him this. Well, too bad you cheated on him. You broke his heart. He's not going to just, like that, come back to you and everything be okay. If the situation was reversed and you caught proof of him having an affair with another woman, you think you would just snap back like that? No. Now we have you-know-what about twice a week, but it's like I'm just a hole to him. There's moments, glimpses of his former intensity and passion, but they're few and far between. I know this is selfish of me. Whoosh, shot number one. But I've been giving myself so much in relationships while my emotional and physical needs of intimacy have suffered. You're lucky this guy stayed with you. We have been in individual counseling and marriage counseling on and off. I bought my desire for more of him there early on, but was shut down by my husband and the therapist. So I've been bottling this up, trying to soothe and cater to my husband. So even the therapist, is usually on the woman's side, was against her. What does that say? Sometimes I find myself burnt out with all the love being poured out with nothing given in return. Lady, no. Love my ass. I feel like the more I get close to my husband, the more I need and desire him. In other words, the more he's not giving you the attention, he's indifferent, or actually very not interested at all. It's driving her nuts, so she's chasing after him because he's not chasing after her. And sometimes that makes me feel rejected, like I need to withdraw because I feel like he doesn't reciprocate. I feel like I'm drowning in unsatiation, I can't say it right, in longing. I want our deep connected relationship that we had before. I want us to be of the same heart, on the same wavelength. You broke his heart. You can't just expect him to bounce back. And he obviously doesn't trust you. And he doesn't trust how, he doesn't think you're sincere. What do you expect? And he said he has childhood abandonment issues. Talk about that can mess with somebody's head quite a bit. I feel the divide between us and I hate it. I know it's selfish. Whoosh, shot number 2. But I want him to love me like he did before. Like I said, you're lucky he's still in the marriage. Why do you deserve that? You broke his heart. And I'm sure this isn't her first rodeo cheating. I want to feel again like he would do anything to comfort me and make me feel loved and wanted. I want to be his delight again. I want to say I want him to accept me as his own again. That's the best way to explain it. He just says he needs time, but nothing is as before. So it takes time. Okay, if you truly love this guy, and we're sorry, you would give this guy an unbelievable amount of time. And she's not. You know, for him to switch back like that, it's not going to happen. It came to the point where I finally broke down one night 2 weeks ago and said I can't do this anymore. Honestly, it came out of nowhere. I told him it hurts to be around him because I long for him and his heart deeply, but he won't draw closer to me. Were you thinking about his heart and all that when you were cheating on him? I told him that I'll go to my dad's house for a while because I need distance from him, so it won't hurt so much not to be close to him anymore. That's it, I'm leaving you. I know I cheated on you and destroyed your love and trust for me, but God damn it, you better start loving me again. And now she's going to deliberately trigger his abandonment issues by leaving him again, which she knows is going to happen. I was emotionally and deeply grieved and felt like I could not go on at that time. I felt like it was the only option forward, the only way to cope with the lack of emotional intimacy between us. And the while he was crying and pleading for me not to leave him. Smack! Dude, get some fucking self-respect. I get he's got abandonment issues, but she's terrible. Right there, you heard. She knew he'd react this way. She did this on purpose. He said that it was my fault and that we were in this situation in the first place. Amen. And I knew but I couldn't see past my own feelings, and I've been festering underneath the surface for so long. So she knows she's being an a-hole. She knows it's her fault, but she doesn't care. Now I know I should have spoken more about how I feel instead of trying to be strong for him so long. I didn't want to stress him out or make him feel like he couldn't give me what I needed. But in that emotional explosion I had that day, I think I blew up the years of stability and safety I was trying to build for him. He obviously was great to her beforehand, and the problem was he was too great for her. She didn't deserve his love and affection. But this, as you can tell, he's an emotional guy and a soft guy. And she's heartless. She's like a freaking cyborg. The Terminator's freaking wife. And she doesn't get it. Or, unfortunately, she gets it too well. Or she doesn't get why she's not attracted to him. But this guy she doesn't deserve him. He shouldn't be with her. And this is what happens when you try to prolong a relationship when somebody's fucked it all up to somebody that doesn't care. He followed me out of the house as I left with a bag packed. The raw emotion on his face is something rarely seen. And looking back, I hate that I put it in him, this kind of emotional state again. Bullshit. You did this on purpose. You knew darn well by you leaving him because of his abandonment issues, it was going to trigger the response that I got. You're not fooling anybody. But at the time, I was in so much emotional turmoil that it didn't stop me. I ignored him and left. After a night's sleep at my dad's, I knew I screwed up and realized what I'd done. I called that morning to tell him that I won't leave him for good, which I thought was a given, and that I just needed a breather. My father also scolded me about how I treated my better spouse. He and my father were close. I went back home after 2 days. See, her dad's yelling at her. And he's like, what the F is wrong with you? And I got to wonder if the dad knows the truth about her affair and all that. I apologized to him, and since my better spouse seemed fine, but yesterday he confessed that he felt my apology wasn't heartfelt enough in relation to the pain leaving out of nowhere that caused him. Right, because it isn't. It is not heartfelt. I admit I didn't heartfeltly apologize for the various ways I may have hurt him doing this, nor did I ask him the depths of how it affected him. Right, because she's focusing on how she feels, and she doesn't want her life to be inconvenienced by her actions. But he carried on like he was okay, so I didn't even notice it was an issue. I thought he'd understand that my motivation for temporary leaving was because I loved him so intensely. Who are you freaking kidding, lady? I personally don't feel like this was a rejection, but the opposite. I desired him so much so that I was too intense and overwhelming for me. I've explained that to him and thought he understood. No, he doesn't understand because he knows you're full of crap. That's what's going on, lady. But he also confessed yesterday he doesn't want me to know how much what I did hurt him and that. It felt like it was D-Day all over again. He said me leaving was careless without thought of how it would affect him. She knew exactly how it would affect him. She did it to manipulate him. She wasn't getting what she wanted for him to forgive her instantly and go back to the way it was before, so she pulled this thing, knowing full well. He wouldn't go into details because he doesn't want me to feel bad or leave again. I realized that I got that way because I bottled everything up. And I told him that I think we need to be more transparent with each other, which would satisfy my deep need of intimacy. In other words, she seriously needs some sausage. He has the ability to deeply make one understand how he feels with his words, but he drew a hard line and wouldn't tell me what I said affected him, and said he's still angry with me. He said he wants me to tell him how I'm feeling instead of bottling up, but not to expect it in return. I think he also idealizes offing oneself if I left him for good. This guy needs serious help if he's thinking about offing himself. And this woman, or any woman, is not the reason for any man to ever do such a thing. I just wanted to add that I'm ashamed of my actions. You sure about that? And I know I sound selfish. Whoosh, shot number 3. But I'm trying to be as transparent in my feelings, questions, and the events as possible to get the most appropriate advice. I'm trying to grow, not stay in the same place. Good Lord, lady. I'm looking to deeply understand how he feels, as I know my recent actions just made things worse. I would like to understand more about my actions affect him. Although I try to comfort him, I sometimes struggle with understanding what he's going through. I usually need to hear one tell me how they feel to understand it clearly, which is why I'm asking Reddit to explain to me. How does the wound of infidelity affect one? How to comfort him if he won't open up to me? How do I mend this? I gotta wonder if she seriously is, how can I say, has something in her brain that makes it difficult for her to understand regular human emotions and feelings. This is why I call her cyborg. Obviously, she's not a cyborg. She wasn't created by Cyberdyne or Skynet or anything like that. But the point is, I think there's something there that some people don't get. He says, better spouse, what has your wayward spouse done to help you? Okay, that's the end of that. Now we're going on to the comments section here. Now, before I read the comments, and I will say this, she is terrible. She's a selfish a-hole, which she knows. She said 3 times. We all did 3 shots because of that. This guy should run for the freaking hills. Unfortunately, this guy has really got his own issues. He needs definite help if he's thinking about ending himself. No guy should ever do that, ever. And you guys ever in a situation thinking about ending yourself, please get help. But anyhow, the best thing she could ever do is end it with this guy. But because he's so damaged, and she's terrible for him, but she doesn't care. And she claims she really doesn't get it. And maybe she's that area mentally, she doesn't comprehend these things. So lady, here's the thing you've been asking for. You broke him. He was loving and wonderful towards you, and you cheated on him. Do you expect him to just get over that and trust you again? You can't have a relationship or marriage without trust, and you destroyed the trust, okay? And the worst thing is he was that good to you, and I can't believe he's still with her, and obviously he's a worn down, weak guy, needs help. But the best thing you can do for him is end it and walk away. That's the best way you can show you truly care about him, because he ain't going anywhere. And hope he gets help. Even try to usher in him getting help and move on. But you don't cheat on somebody and expect him to just get over it like that. Okay? Trust is so important. If he was with another woman, do you think he would just get over it like that? I think not. So I wish this guy the best. Now, some comments here before I wrap this thing up. One guy, this is from a woman. A woman says this. She goes, "You can't just demand something from him instantly. Infidelity takes years, even decades, even until the death of the betrayed partner to come off their marriage. You pretty much sound selfish, but also low-key need advice to fix your husband. Nobody can fix him but himself. What you need to do is be there for him. Or better yet, end it." Another guy says here, "Personally, if it was my wayward spouse left suddenly, I would assume they were cheating again no matter what they said was the reason. He met all your needs, so you cheated. He didn't meet your needs, and you left. He has no reason to feel comfortable sharing his feelings with you without fear of repercussions. All I can say is that I don't feel the same for my husband as I did before, and I don't think I ever will because he's not the person I thought he was." Right. He's great to her. She cheated. Now he's not getting over it that quickly, and she leaves. He can't win no matter what with her. Going into the old joke that you can't ever make women happy. Another guy says here, "Infidelity is a form of abuse, and the ways it destroyed a person seems endless. If you cheat and want to stay together, you will most likely spend your entire life putting back together a relationship that will never be as it was before. First of all, 3 years is mere moments if you consider the pain he is already going through. The fact that you couldn't even see his pain shows how detached you are from your own marriage, which is why you so easily cheated in the first place. Trust once broken can never return to how it originally was, and you broke this man. A lot of people end their own life in these types of situations. Be happy your husband is enough of a fool to stay and live with you and with the pain. In doing that, he shows how much he loves you, and that should be enough to date your needs, at least emotionally. Personally, I would say leave the man, set him free. It will hurt him, but he will be able to go out in the world and find a new happiness." Well, I still say they should break up. It's not going to work. It's never going to work. Another guy says here, "I don't think you're as self-aware as you think. You're torturing that poor man. You think you deserve a 2-day break because your husband isn't as affectionate as he was before your infidelity. What about him? What does he need? It doesn't matter how transparent and loving you want him to be. It is his comfort, and that takes precedence. He needs you to be honest about how you feel, then you speak to him. You don't run away acting like you're the victim and the wounded partner." She is acting like she's the victim. But of course, many do act like they're the victims, even though they caused all the problems. You need to understand that this man deserves far better than you. You treat him like he's a prize, and you want to win him, not expecting him to jump when you say how high. There you go. So guys, that, in my opinion, is probably the most selfish a-holes I've seen in a while. And believe me, I have seen a lot. And flat out, she says it 3 times. So she knows that she's selfish, but at the end of the day, she doesn't give a shit, you know? And I have met women that have talked about, they'd say, I know I'm selfish, but I get it, selfish, but screw you. I've observed this, and I'm sure you guys have heard this too. Anyway, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below and just think about this. Well, let this girl know in the comment section why things aren't exactly working out as she expected it, because clearly she doesn't quite yet understand why he's acting the way he does. And also, guys, you come across a great story, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time to get to it, and I definitely will when I get the chance. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.